Hey, Mr. Paul Lucas, how are you, sir?
Doing great, Cam. Good to see you.
Well, I'm excited about this. This is the start of something new for you and I, isn't it?
Yes, our first show.
Yep, absolutely. So this is a new podcast that Paul and I have been talking about for some time called Rug Rescue. And in this podcast, it will have a variety of things from cleaning, it could possibly be marketing, but most of all, it's going to be about the average call that we get daily. You guys have heard us talk about, these calls that Paul and I get all the time. We talk about it in the Rug Room and on the show on Wednesday nights, which, by the way, you should check out the Rug Room Live. Wednesdays, 7:30 Central, absolutely free. But we get these calls all the time, and we've helped hundreds and hundreds of cleaners. And when we get this call, we have to examine them and go through them, and it's pretty interesting. And we want to be able to take that and put it into a little bit of a podcast so people can kind of hear why we're doing it the way we're doing it, and maybe it'll be something that will help you. So, but in this first one that we're doing today, numero uno, the first podcast, we just want you to know a little bit about who we are. So we're not going to get into too much on this first one, but we're going to follow it up with podcast number 2, and we will be discussing some things. So right now, I want to introduce you to Paul Lucas. Many of you already know him, but Paul, and I know we're under a little time constraint here, but can you tell everybody just a little bit about yourself, please?
Well, I started making cleaning chemicals mainly for carpets and rugs in 1985. Now, prior to that, I was making my own cleaning solutions for several years because I had a cleaning business. And then I was reselling the products I was making for my own use locally here in West Michigan. So I had been formulating for others, but my main focus was my cleaning business. Well, when I sold that and started Chemax in 1985, then we started making a bunch of cleaning agents. Well, I'm of the opinion that, you buy the product because you know what you need, and then you read the directions, you follow the directions, and everything works out. That's kind of the anticipation. But what I learned right away was a lot of people had a lot of questions. Well, this didn't work. What should I do now? How come I need to do it this way? Can I use it in this other method, this other system? And so I started taking phone calls on how to use and how to clean carpet and upholstery, oriental rugs, and various other textiles on an almost daily basis. And that continues to today. And even though you'd say, well, just Google it, it's many times more important to get an answer to your specific situation, because you can't find it. They don't know what kind of situation you're in. And I know what Cam and I both do is a lot of times when we get a question, we start out by asking a bunch of questions. Because if you go on the internet and say, well, I've got this spot, how do I get that spot out? Well, people just start throwing product names. Or you say, how do I clean this? And they just start telling you about the equipment they sell. And really, that's not the answer. The answer is, okay, what do we know? What have we tried so far? Okay, let's come up with plan B, or let's follow through with what you've already done all the way through to completion. So I think we've gained a lot of experience over the years on really what works and why it works.
Yeah, absolutely, Paul. And you're right about that. People call us and their main question is how can you help me? And then we've got all these questions to be able to figure it all out. Start, be the detective, we could say. Now, my background basically is, I've been a carpet cleaner since I was about 17. And I got into these different things, painting and janitorial in my carpet clean business. And through time, I wanted to get out of those few things. I didn't like the painting or the janitorial. But I did like rugs, and I knew very little. And I thought because I was a good carpet cleaner, I could start the rug business and it would take off right away. And for those of you who know me, I've said this over and over again. I failed miserably. It was bad. And so through it, I did meet some people. Paul was definitely one of them that started to guide me the right way and explain things to me. So things came together. And through that, I quickly found out some of the people that were gurus, or the educated ones, as we would say, I guess. I would call them when I had a problem. Nobody could answer my questions. They would just say, like Paul said earlier, oh, just use this, or just use that, or just use this. But they didn't even know why they were saying to use it. They were just telling you to do it because maybe it worked for them at one time. Then all of a sudden I call Paul, and instead of just throwing some answers at me, he started asking questions. He started examining. Well, luckily, Paul and I have hit it off. We've become very good friends. And through the years, we've helped, Paul's probably in the thousands. Paul's been around about 30, 40, 50 more longer years than me. So, but, it's hundreds. We've helped a lot of people. And I'll tell you guys, I'm just addicted to it. I absolutely love it. And because it was frustrating for me early on, when you hear all these people telling you, oh, they'll do this for you and do that for you. But then when you make the phone call, they didn't pick up the phone, or they couldn't really answer it, or they just, oh, I'll send, call this person. They might know. So that changed dramatically when I met Paul. So basically, now I have a pretty good rug facility. I'm not huge by any means. My daughter runs it, family owned. We love it. I just recently started selling equipment a couple of years ago. I was never into doing that. Sold product with Paul a little bit starting out after a few years of getting to know him, but it wasn't a main concern. Now I sell a little more than we used to, but we've become a good team, and so we have a way of looking at things that we know we want to help people and get them to the next level, and that's what this podcast is going to be about. The questions that we get on a daily basis, how do we answer them? Why we answer them that way. Paul, before we close this out and work on our, really first podcast, which is after this one, after our introduction, do you have anything you want to add to this before we go?
Well, I just want to give credit where credit's due. A lot of what we know and what we've learned over the years is really because of our customers. And we've been able to go to our customers when a question comes up and we don't really know the answer. Then I said, well, let me get back to you. And then I would call the various cleaners that I know and see what their experiences are. And that's been very good for me over the years because it's not just my opinion or Cam's opinion, but we really share what hundreds of rug cleaners are doing out there. And a lot of people perfect something. They might not be perfect at everything, but they got their really strong point that they're very, very good at. Like Nate Coots, his rug ID is just fantastic. And he doesn't just say, well, it's from this country, from this language group or this tribe, and it's about this old, this many years old. He'll actually tell you why he knows that and explain it. And then we have other people that are just experts at maybe stain removal or some other aspect. They run a plant. Some people do it all by hand, and we learn from each one of these. And that's really built our knowledge and experience because we've been able to work with a lot of top cleaners around, not only around the country, but around the world.
Yeah, absolutely. And, we will definitely be talking to, as we go along through this, we'll be mentioning names. I would like to call it, you probably remember that movie with De Niro in it, the comedy. I can't think of the name right now, but The Circle of Trust, and Paul, we've kind of developed that. We've got people in that circle that we truly know are good people, and they'll try to help, like Nathan Coots, Lynn Tall, Anthony Belmont, Rob Decker, Danny. There's a list of them. And so we'll be talking about these people and why we really care for them and stuff along through this, because it will be interesting. And I know we'll end up getting into other conversations other than this is how we handled this problem. So, okay, guys, well, this is just the introduction. Podcast number 2 will be coming up shortly. We're probably going to try to get them posted roughly about the same time. We appreciate your support. We want to mention again, the Rug Room Live. If you're on Facebook, you can check it out there, or you can just put in www.therugroomlive.com. Wednesday night, 7:30 Central. We had a wonderful one this last Wednesday about marketing. Next Wednesday, it'll probably be about cleaning something. So check it out. Classes are always going on. We post those in the websites as well as ChemMax and mine. And we'll post those too in the chat box so you can see those links and stuff like that. And if there's anything we can do to improve this is something new to us. We're going to do the best we can at it. Other than that, guys, thanks for being here for the first Rug Rescue podcast. We will see you in podcast number 2 here shortly. Take care. Keep it clean.
Thanks for joining in.